Hi everyone, welcome to your virtual field trip of Drew Farm. Drew Farm is a 2.5-acre production farm where we use this space to grow food for school cafeterias. There's a chance that what you see on this tour, you may see on your lunch tray later down the line. Our farmers carefully harvest the produce, load it up in the tractor to bring it inside to the kitchens where it's washed, cut, vacuum sealed, and packaged. We load it up in our van and we send it out to your school cafeteria. So let's get started. We're going to start by heading over here to our perennial field. Perennial is the word we use to describe plants that come back every year. These plants here are our raspberry and blackberry bushes and a bit of our strawberry patch. This video was shot at the end of May, so these are what our raspberry plants look like now, but soon they'll be full of raspberries like this, and in July there will be an abundance of raspberries and blackberries for us to harvest. This is our strawberry patch right now. You can see we have little flowers starting to form, which is what will turn into our strawberry plants, and soon, later in June, the strawberries will look like this, and we'll be harvesting so many of them. Asparagus is another perennial. We only planted it one time many years ago, and each spring it comes up like this. We're growing green and purple varieties, and to harvest you just bend and snap and there's your asparagus. We have a few apple trees here at the farm, and although it's early in the spring, we're starting to see the blossoms. So these here are tiny little apples that soon in the fall will be beautiful, full, delicious apples like these ones. A few other fruits you'd see at Drew Farm are our Concord grapes, which we harvest in the fall, and we also grow watermelon. Alright, let's check out this area and see what we have growing here. We have rows and rows of collard greens and kale in this area. These things were planted outside earlier in the spring because they're cold tolerant vegetables and they were okay with the chillier weather. Since they've been growing all spring and the weather's starting to get warmer now, our farmers here, Sarita and Colleen, are harvesting the greens. Here comes another one of our awesome farmers, Mr. Flowers. And yes, he's on a tractor. The tractor is one of our favorite and most important tools that help us save a ton of time and labor here. In our next field, you will see here we're growing some onions. So we have long rows of onions spaced out a few inches apart, and this drip line that you see, it's black and it looks like a hose, that's what we use to drip water directly into the soil to reach the roots. Next, we're going to explore our hoop houses. Hoop houses are kind of like greenhouses, but they have a soft plastic on the side instead of a hard plastic or a glass like you may have heard of before. These hoop houses offer season extension, which means we can start planting earlier in the spring and harvest later into the fall because they trap in heat and keep these plants warm. The sunlight is able to pass through the plastic and it warms up the plants and the soil and the air inside faster than the heat is able to escape. So essentially in here you're going to find the vegetables that are from warmer climates like South America, for example, where peppers and tomatoes come from. They prefer an extra warm climate and they have a longer growing season. Our first stop is here in our pepper hoop house. These plants aren't fully mature yet, they're still growing, and you can see we have these stakes in place to help support them as they get bigger. They're going to double in size. They're going to have a lot more leaves and they will bear tons of peppers. So in here we plant all kinds of peppers. We have different sizes, shapes, colors, spiciness levels, and here are some photos included from our harvest which we'll get later in the summer. Next we have our tomato plants. Right now they're very tiny and we just planted them, but they're going to grow like vines, so tall that they'll almost be reaching the ceiling of this hoop house. Here are some photos of later in the summer, these were taken in August, of the different colors, shapes, and sizes of tomatoes we grow. Next we have our herb high tunnel. Herbs are plants that have a ton of flavor and we use them as seasonings in our food. Here you see basil, which is common in Italian food, like on pizza or pastas. Here's rosemary. These plants are very small, but they're going to keep growing and get a lot bigger over the summer. We've got thyme growing, which is a delicious little herb. These plants are going to get a lot bigger too, and we have sage. Now, we don't grow a lot of flowers at the farm on purpose because we're primarily focused on growing vegetables for the cafeterias, but we do get flowers. Our herbs, like these onions, chives, and sage plants, produce delicious and beautiful flowers. Now, what about these empty fields? There's a lot of vegetables that we grow here at the farm that you didn't see on this tour. That's because these vegetables need it to be warmer outside in order to grow successfully. We are currently in the middle of planting those crops right now, and if you came back in the summer, you would see carrots, zucchini and summer squash, winter squash, corn on the cob, red, white, and sweet potatoes, and pumpkins. You may have noticed we don't have any animals at our farm, but we do keep bees. They produce honey for us and they help us pollinate our flowers. There's lots of other insects like spiders. We have birds that love hanging out by our berry patch and making nests for their babies, little bunnies, and an occasional stray cat looking for field mice. All right, thank you for attending this virtual field trip to Drew Farm. We loved spending time with you and showing you what we're growing. If you'd like to come visit the farm in person, every fall we host our annual Harvest Festival where we have games and activities, face painting, hay rides, corn mazes, and more. We hope to see you there. I hope you enjoyed this virtual field trip, and don't forget to look out for our produce on your lunch trays.